All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for the Safety Blueprint webinar. I'm Marie Serafina, and I lead product operations at CENTEGIX, and I'll be your host for this session. Safety Blueprint is a dynamic digital mapping solution. It enhances safety planning and accelerates emergency response times. Safety Blueprint serves as a foundational component of the CENTEGIX safety platform. In this session, you'll learn how Safety Blueprint empowers your team to easily manage and maintain your maps, ensuring every single reliable point of reference for all of your safety assets. Whether in schools, healthcare facilities, or government buildings, this essential solution plays a crucial role in improving emergency response, helping your teams act faster and more effectively. Now, our agenda for today, we'll start with an overview of how Safety Blueprint plays a critical role in enhancing your safety planning and emergency response. Next, we'll dive into a live demo where you'll learn how easy it is to tag and manage safety assets like your AEDs, fire extinguishers, and bleed kits. We'll have a sneak peek at upcoming enhancements that are on our roadmap. And you'll hear from our special guest, Captain Neptune, as he shares his experience using Safety Blueprint to enhance safety and incident management at Hillsborough County Public Schools in Florida. We'll wrap up with an open forum of questions. So at the bottom part of your screen, you'll see a Q&A option. That is your ability to ask questions throughout the session. I'll be monitoring it and we'll respond to those questions if there's time at the end of the presentation. So let's get started. It's my absolute pleasure today to introduce our speaker, Pete Crosby. Pete is a product manager at CENTEGIX, and he leads Safety Blueprint. With over 20 years of experience in building innovative products, he specializes in public safety, mapping technologies, infrastructure, location-based services. Pete joined CENTEGIX about a year ago, and he brings extensive experience in developing solutions that improve emergency response and safety operations. Pete, over to you.
Thanks, Marie. It's wonderful to be here today. I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen. I wanted to start with a little story, if you like. When I think about my history in public safety, one of the things that struck me when I was preparing for this presentation was around 10 years ago, let's say, the rapid growth of cell phone ownership had become a real big problem for 911 and emergency response because it was really hard to get accurate location information from a cell phone. And at that time, less than 40% of calls that went to 911 yielded a dispatchable location. So many agencies decided to change their opening question. They would previously ask, when you call 911, they'd say, 911, what's the nature of your emergency? And they changed it to 911, what is your location? Because the single most important piece of information that you can get in an emergency is location. And without that, nothing else matters, really. The next most important piece of information that you can get in an emergency is data about the location. And you folks have so much data that emergency services want. And this is where the CENTEGIX Safety Platform excels: location and current location information. So, as many of you folks are aware, CENTEGIX is known for our crisis alert system, which empowers every employee to signal for help from anywhere on campus with just the push of a button. So with the push of a button, Crisis Alert ensures total campus coverage, instantly identifying the precise location of an emergency while delivering audio and visual notifications at the most critical moments. Precise location is critical to reducing response times, and having accurate, updated map information is essential for first responders and emergency teams to navigate quickly and act decisively. And this is exactly where Safety Blueprint plays an important role. The safety platform, the CENTEGIX Safety Platform, is the foundation for a layered safety plan that empowers the fastest response to emergencies, because in a crisis, as we know, every second matters. Our safety platform includes dynamic digital mapping, real-time locating capabilities, an easy-to-use wearable panic button, visitor management, and reunification capabilities to plan for and respond faster to any safety situation. As a foundational function, Safety Blueprint provides the dynamic digital map to crisis alert, visitor management, and also to public safety agencies. CENTEGIX Safety Blueprint is a dynamic digital mapping solution. It's designed to help schools and organizations manage their safety planning and preparedness. It provides a centralized, always updated view of your site, integrating dynamic imagery, which provides up-to-date, high-quality situational awareness of the surrounding area, building floor plans, which ensure responders and staff have the most accurate layouts, and room labels and safety assets that help you identify AEDs, trauma kits, exits, and hazards with precision. So let's take a closer look at how Safety Blueprint supports emergency response and safety planning. During an emergency, every second counts. Safety Blueprint ensures that first responders, security teams, and staff can access critical real-time site data. It equips responders with site-specific information such as evacuation routes or room labels. It informs responders of identified hazards, utility shutoffs, the closest life-saving device, and it ensures that maps always provide accurate information by enabling customers to make their own map updates. When an emergency occurs, you need the right information at the right time, and Blueprint ensures that happens. Safety isn't just about crisis response, it's also about preparing in advance. And Safety Blueprint eliminates the need for multiple spreadsheets and provides a centralized view of all your safety assets. Maps can be shared easily, exported digitally, or printed without requiring additional expensive software. It reduces the time needed to manage inventory, maintenance, and requisition reports. And it lets you track expiration, inspection dates, serial numbers, notes, photos for every piece of safety equipment, and receive proactive notification for upcoming inspections and expiration dates. So it ensures that staff and emergency responders always have the most accurate information, whether it's during a crisis or a routine safety check. Okay. So for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you how easy it is to update emergency asset locations, adjust map details, track assets at the district level, and ensure that staff and first responders always have the most up-to-date information. Because as we've said, and as you know, outdated maps and missing assets can cost critical seconds in an emergency. Let me real quick share my screen. Okay. So what we're looking at here is logging on to a system. You can log on to Safety Blueprint through blueprint.centegix.com, and you'll come up to this opening page that shows you all the sites that you have access to. If you're a district level person, you will have access to a number of sites, and you have the ability to filter that down to the particular site that you want to look at. We're going to go into this demo site. And now I'm looking at my site, and you can see straight away that you have floor plan with multiple floors, so you can switch between the floors right there. This is floor number 2. We'll go back to floor number 1. You have labels identifying critical important information about rooms and surrounding areas that are useful to local folks or responding agencies. You can turn on a grid for additional location information, which is, again, useful for people responding to a site where they're not familiar with that site. You've also got asset information that is identifying at the moment entries and exits, emergency exits at the site. You've got high resolution imagery that provides situational awareness of the surrounding area around the site, which is important, again, for responding agencies that may not be familiar with the site. You can zoom in to see more detail, maybe to locate a good place for a command post or even a helicopter landing zone if that hasn't been identified up front in your safety plan. And you can easily move around the site and get information about everything about the site. On the left-hand side, you can is the place where you control all of the information that shows on the screen. So here you have all of the safety assets. Right now we've got some turned off. So let's turn them all on. Let's turn on all our safety assets. And you can see you've got all your critical safety and security assets placed on the map right there. And as you zoom in and zoom out, the assets are always displayed, but you can see the labels. They turn on and turn off so that you have a dynamic view of the map that is always very readable. If I wanted to filter this out, it's really easy to just turn things off and turn things on. So depending on what role you have in interacting with Blueprint, or what task you're performing on a particular day, you can easily turn on and off items. So let's say, for example, well, first of all, let's say somebody has told you that there's something wrong with one of your assets and you want to find a particular asset. It's real easy to just go along and, well, which asset is it? Oh, it's the AED in hallway 200. Okay, let's find that. So you can click on it on the place markers board. You can see it's centered that asset in the middle of the screen, and it's highlighting it, so it's obvious which one you're looking for. You can also see on the right side all of the information that was collected about that asset. So in this case, it's an AED. It tells you where it is. It's got a battery replacement date. This is a custom field. You can add as many custom fields to your assets that you need for whatever information you want to record. Might be an inspection date, a battery replacement date, whatever it is, a serial number, whatever it is that you want to track across your assets. It's saying, there's a note on there that's saying it's got a broken case. It tells me who last updated it and when it was updated. So all of this information is available. You can take a look at the picture that's been added. See that, yes, it's got a broken case, and then you can take action on that. Same thing with labels. So let's get out of this. We have lots of different labels up here, but I can easily turn off the display of rooms, for example, if I want to declutter the map for some reason. You have full control over what these categories of labels are. If I want to find a particular room, they're listed alphabetically, so it's real easy to go ahead and find one of those rooms. Again, it's centered in the screen and highlighted, and you have the information again on the side that explains that label. So let's say you are a facilities manager or a site safety manager, and you want to, and you're doing a safety check. You're going around the site with your tablet or your phone, and you check in all of the assets because it's time to update your safety plan. And you come across, you're in the gym, and you come across an area where there's supposed to be an AED, or there is an AED on the site, but it's not showing up on your map. So it's real easy to add that asset. All you have to do is click on the map and the location that you want to place that asset. It centers it. Click, I want to add an asset. Make that an AED. We want to tell the system where it is so that you can locate it later through the place marker board. I'm going to add a battery replacement date on that. Again, this is a custom field that you could add. And I'm going to upload an image. So I'll upload this one. So I take a picture with my tablet or my phone, and then I just select it and upload that image. Save those changes, and there's that AED. So anybody else coming along has access to that information. So all of this is live information, right? That's a key point. The next person that comes along in 5 minutes to look at this map, they're going to see that information. They don't have to wait for somebody else, a third-party service or whatever, to come in and update the asset information. And that's important, right? Because if an incident occurs, and that asset isn't logged on the map, folks are not necessarily going to know where the nearest asset is. So let's take a look at this in Crisis Alert real quick. I'm going to switch to another screen. And let's bring up that site that we were looking at, the onboarding demo site. And I'll turn on the assets. And you can see that asset that we just added 30 seconds ago in Safety Blueprint is now showing up in Crisis Alert. So if an alert happened in this area and you were looking at the map, you would know, a responding SRO would know where the nearest AED was. Let's say it was a medical emergency that required an AED. That's critical information, and that really shows how dynamic the system is and how you can keep your asset information up to date, and it helps you in Crisis Alert and other applications. So let's switch back to Safety Blueprint. So maybe I'm also going around looking at the map, and I noticed that a label, I don't have a label on this emergency exit. And labels are really important to law enforcement, right? They really want to know all of the entrances and exits into a site when they respond. And they're typically, entrances and exits are labeled in a clockwise manner, starting with the main entrance and going clockwise around the site. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a new label. And I'm going to call it label A5 because that's the next one. And there's the label. One thing to notice that I didn't mention there is exit doors A5. So when you look at these, you have access to all of the different styles that are available to you, right? These are all different groupings of labels, and you just pick the one that you want, and it will go in with the right style. In this case, exit doors. And your administrator at the account level has access to setting these up. So let's say you're walking around the site and you notice that one of your assets is in the wrong place. It's like, no, that's not where the fire extinguisher is. That's not the correct location. So you can go in and again click on it and just move it to the correct location. So real simple. It's real simple environment, but real powerful environment for keeping your assets up to date. A couple of other things I want to show real quick in the time we have. You can share your this map information. You can share it in hard copy form as a printed map. You can share it in digital form as a PDF, and you can also share it in exchange formats like DXF, which is a CAD exchange format that is accepted by most different mapping systems out there. You can also share it. You can share the application, which is something that a lot of our customers do, is they give a dynamic read-only access right to respond in law enforcement and fire agencies, so that in a time of crisis, when they're responding, they have access again to up-to-date map information that's critical to helping them come up with the best response to a emergency situation. You can also export your asset information. So here's a quick report of all of the assets on this site. So it shows you every single asset type: fire extinguisher, health clinic, chiller plant, every asset type that we provide, and all of the information associated with that. So you can use it for further reporting or compliance or audit requirements that you may have with your assets in other systems. And the last thing I really want to show you before we move on is the asset dashboard. So the asset dashboard is available at the account level, and it gives you an account level view of all of the assets in your particular account. So let's go ahead and pick CENTEGIX. This is the site we were looking at. So what you're looking at here is a count, a percentage or a count, either one, of all of the AEDs across all of the sites across your account, across your district that have AEDs. So in this case, 22 of the sites have AEDs, 31 don't. Same for every asset that you've got loaded in the system. And you can click on any one of those to get more information down to the site level, like which sites do not have any AEDs in them, for example. And you can print that out in a report format. To use for follow-on meetings around auditing or budget requirements with regards to assets. So it's a real useful overview of the condition and state of assets across all of your sites. So that was a real quick look little bit of a whirlwind view of Blueprint, but I hope it shows how easy it is to keep your assets up to date on your map, and the importance of that, and showing and being able to share it with outside agencies, as well as your own folks, for their workflows.
Thank you.
That's,
I'm going to go ahead and share now.
yeah. Okay. So there are three roles that we provide with Safety Blueprint. There's the Blueprint admin role, which provides account level user management. It allows you to configure your assets and labels, add and edit, remove assets and labels. It gives you access to district dashboard reports. That is a Blueprint enhanced capability. It also lets you export and print maps. You've also got the asset manager role. This basically gives you the ability to add and edit and remove assets and labels. It also gives you the dashboard reports and allows you to export and print maps. And then for those people those roles that don't need the ability to edit, we have an asset viewer role that just lets you view maps and asset data. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that are coming soon. The first of these is evacuation routes. We are constantly improving Safety Blueprint, and evacuation routes basically allows you to place a generic route on the map that allows you to identify things like an evacuation route, but it could be something like just color fill in the corridors so it's clear for emergency response where the entrance and exits are, and where the routes are to those entries and exits. In this case, we're looking at a primary route being placed and a secondary route being placed. It could also be used for just generic placement of arrows for things like the direction to a reunification zone or a gathering area. We've also got asset notifications that are coming along. Delivering this month, the ability to get email notifications from date fields within your system on the asset. So we looked at the battery replacement date on the demo. You could be notified when that date was coming up. So any upcoming dates for or past due dates, you can get that notification on a regular basis. Moving forward, later in the year, we'll be delivering the visualization of that information through dashboards and in the various other places within the application where asset information is available. So you have a real good view of upcoming important dates like inspection due date or inspection overdue. And then also later in the year, the ability to update actual architectural floor plan map changes with Map Editor, so that you don't have to wait 6 months to a year to update your map information. This could be as simple as moving walls or adding new walls. As we all know, classrooms, hospitals, other campuses, their information changes frequently, and it's critical for a response that they have the most up-to-date map information when they're responding to a crisis situation. For tips on using Safety Blueprint, you can visit success.centegix.com. We have an extensive list of documents and links that take you all through the product and lead you in detail as to how you would use the various pieces of functionality within the application.
Thank you, Pete. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here. So thank you so much for walking us through all the great features of Safety Blueprint. Looking forward to those new features that'll be coming out this month and later this year. So now I want to turn this over to our special guest, and it is my pleasure to introduce him. So Captain Neptune, he leads safety, security and emergency management at Hillsborough County Public Schools in Florida. He's been an avid user and early adopter of Safety Blueprint, and he's going to walk us through how Safety Blueprint has helped Hillsborough. So Captain Neptune, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen here and just have a conversation with you. So can you introduce yourself for us and tell us a bit about your role and how safety planning fits into your day-to-day responsibilities?
I'm Captain Neptune. I've been with the school district for 18 years in emergency management division. I oversee the east side of the county for most part of things. Safety Blueprint has taken a big critical role in our day-to-day operations with our safety features are functioning in schools. In the event of an incident that's happening, I know where AEDs are, I know where cameras are, I know where the critical assets that I need to get to right here on my cell phone, utilizing the app, going on the web portion of it. And my teammates, my other coworkers and such, they all know how to access it and get to these applications.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And what challenges or safety concerns led you to seek out a solution like Safety Blueprint?
So we were early adopter. We were already part of the crisis alert system, which was great. When CENTEGIX informed us that they were coming out with the blueprint section, we jumped on that immediately. We saw some deficiencies in the school district with map updates, needing to know where our critical assets are. We've had silos of things where other divisions may have handled some of these assets that we would have to go and pull that information from. With this, it has put it in everyone's hands. Back in 2023, the state introduced House Bill 301 that then required us to have critical assets map plotted, such as gas shut-off valves, electrical shutoffs, emergency assets that are on or near school grounds. So we were already ahead of the game, which that was great. So I always say they kind of just piggybacked off of us, saw what we were doing and jumped on it and made it a state law now.
Love it. So before Safety Blueprint, how were you managing your safety related information? And what was your biggest pain point at that time?
So we were managing it with big binders. We went away from binders to then using Excel sheets, getting with schools, finding out this information. And it was certain informations were held in silos in different divisions. We had school sites that didn't know the full infrastructure of their schools. So with us being an adopter of this and getting on board, it was one of those, it's in my hand. I have access to everything that I need to. I don't have to rely on another division for that info, especially in the event of emergency. So some of the troubles that we've had was gathering that information and such. So now that we have it, it's easily accessible.
Sounds the digital way is the way to go.
Yes.
So how easy or difficult was it to integrate Safety Blueprint into your existing safety protocols?
Very easy. Matching what we already had into then putting it into Safety Blueprint. That process, took some time, but it was not difficult. As Peter showed on his demo of plotting assets and such, it was a login, find what location you want, select the asset, drop it on the map, so that helped a lot. CENTEGIX was always willing to, hey, I need a new asset for this, or I need this. Can you guys work on it? And they were great at producing that. So I applaud you all for that and always being responsive.
And we appreciate the feedback. A lot of times we'll launch a system, we'll get it all set up, and we're gung-ho at the beginning. But it really comes down to when you're actively using it and you're using it across your campus. Can you share a specific example of how keeping your maps, your assets, and labels up to date with Safety Blueprint helped you improve your safety planning or an emergency response? So maybe like a recent example.
Okay. So I'll give you an example of, we had a lockdown at a school a few months ago, and this is a school that we had plotted probably a year ago. So I knew that school real well. So the assets, the layout of the school, moving classroom walls in classrooms using the web editor and such, that helps. So with this lockdown, as I'm responding to that site, I'm pulling up the map. I'm now in my head looking at where I'm going to station my manpower, where I'm going to put command posts. If our local law enforcement agency needs to land a helicopter, where they're going to go as we start getting ready to start searching our kids, because could be a possible weapon on campus. I've already plotted where metal detectors are going to go. And one nice thing about that, there's a metal detector icon. So I was able to drop where I wanted them on the map, and my folks that have access, they're able to see where I wanted everything. There was no guessing of, hey, I need it at this area. It was like, this is where they're at, here you go. So it worked out real well for us on that. It also helped with, if we have a fire somewhere, where gas shut off valves are, where's the critical assets. So we've had similar incidents where we've had to utilize the mapping portion of it.
That's amazing. Hillsborough County in Florida, across your district and your charters, you have close to, if not more than 300 sites. That's a significant amount of sites. And I know your team managed a lot of the organization of that for Safety Blueprint. So how did you approach such a large scale implementation? And do you have any lessons learned for our audience?
Yes. So we wanted to do the asset plotting of our site. We're intimate. We know I didn't want to contract it out to a vendor or whatnot. We want that responsibility. In the event something happens, I can't blame a vendor. So I wanted my team to be the one to handle the assets. So I know there's a camera on building 300. I know there's a camera there. I'm not guessing if it was there or not. So the errors on there it's not there. Room for error. When it came out to taking on the challenge of asset tagging close to 300 sites, schools, administrative offices, charter schools, and such, it was one of those of, where do I start? First I got to create a small little team of trainers, to build out, hey, how far are we going to expand and make this team? So what I did is took a team of about 4, and we took some of our smaller elementaries, middle schools, and high schools, and we would go out and plot the schools. We noticed that an elementary school with a team of 4 will probably take us an hour and a half. If it's one person, it's going to take a little longer than that. So once we fine tune those, hey, these are the issues we're running into, such as, hey, I don't know what a riser is, a fire riser. I don't know what this asset is. Because not everyone knows critical infrastructures, what they pass every day, what it actually does. So once we determined we needed to have a map layout, a guide for the rest of the team members as we train them after, we went ahead and created a bunch of documents for them. So as they walk through the schools, we expanded the team and continued training. Training took a couple weeks for folks to get on board to see what we were actually plotting, verifications of room numbers and such, what assets are and such. So once I did that, we continued to expand the team. And then after hours weekend, we've just let them do their thing.
A lot of hard work.
Yes.
All right. So now that you have close to 300 of your sites that are set up with Safety Blueprint, you've labeled, you've made sure the maps are updated, and you have early access and an early adopter of our map editor. So you've been able to make some modifications to your maps as you started to walk the sites, and you labeled them. First, can you just give me a quick view of what it's like having access to updating your sites? And then after that, how are you plan to maintain the maps and your assets going forward?
So being able to edit the maps have been wonderful for us. In the past, we see maps were outdated. With schools, there's constant construction going on. As the population in a school gets built, something that was a large classroom may have been now turned into 2 or 3 classrooms. So having a vendor come out and do that type of work is going to set us back a year or 2 for them to produce an actual map of the school. With us going in, looking at the room out layouts and stuff, getting into the web editor and drawing in the walls, measurements and all of that, we knew it was accurate. And within a day or so, it was live. So if something did happen the next day, it was a good map that we had.
Now, if somebody's on the fence about using Safety Blueprint, what's the one thing that you would tell them?
I would tell them we're all respond to critical incidents. If you are relying on correct information that's going to be at the tip of your fingertips, Safety Blueprint is something to go with, especially if you are already utilizing the crisis alert system with CENTEGIX. With the amount of assets and the amount that it has grown, and every few weeks, Marie tells me there's a new feature coming out and such, which is great. They've grown a lot. So I would tell you, definitely look into it, reach out, do some demos with them and such. It has been a tremendous help on our part here in Hillsborough. I could only see it growing even more. That's my opinion on it. I love it.
Great. And for anybody that's listening in or that's going to hear this recording, the ways that you can go about accessing Safety Blueprint is going to success.centegix.com. It'll give you information about how to actually log in and view it. You can also reach out to your account manager with CENTEGIX, and they'll be able to help support you through the onboarding process. Now, we have less than 3 minutes remaining, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but there were maybe just a few questions that were really important, and I'd like to quick touch on those. And Captain Neptune, actually, one of them is for you. So for customers with fewer locations, so you all have 300 plus. So think about the customer that has maybe 1 site, 2 site, maybe 10. How would you recommend they manage Safety Blueprint and go about their safety planning?
Get the folks that know about the site that could be in charge of the asset plotting, editing rooms and such. Looking if you're dealing with a smaller site, smaller locations or smaller teams, it's having someone that really cares about the safety and the goal of what all of this is to ensure that what's being produced is accurate.
Okay. And then the other piece, the other question is, how does Safety Blueprint fit into your larger ecosystem of facilities management and emergency preparedness?
So with facilities, I have our maintenance department that have other assets that really is not part of the safety part of things with schools, but they have critical things on a school that they need to know about. So they have access to where they could go and plot those tools, things that pertain to them. It works out if they have new employees that's coming on or contractors. Hey, here's a map, here's the assets, this is where you can find the locations of things or where to access and such are.
Great. And I think we have, so I have two questions that I could go ahead and answer here that we had come in. We have a lot of questions and I will capture those. And if you did submit your name with those questions, we'll make sure that we follow up and reach back out to you to get that question answered. One question is, how can access be given to site responders that will need to have this on hand? So if there's two ways. So if you are already using Crisis Alert today, your site responders will automatically have access to it. So if you tagged an asset like an AED or you labeled a room in Safety Blueprint, it's going to automatically appear in Crisis Alert. So when they log into their mobile app for Crisis Alert, they'll be able to individually toggle on the assets labels or even that XY grid that's available. So, but the asset or label needs to be added. So you can, they should have access to that immediately to view it. And if you're not a Crisis Alert customer using Safety Blueprint, you can give them view access or map asset management access. So those roles that Pete walked through earlier, we can easily extend that to somebody specifically viewing access probably would be best for a responder. So they'd be able to access that. Safety Blueprint is a web-based application, so easy to access from your phone, your tablet, or your desktop computer. And we are now over time. Captain Neptune, I so appreciate you taking the time today out of your busy schedule. Always love seeing you, and it was great to hear your experience. And I appreciate your partnership, and thank you for doing this today. And Pete, great job.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Pete.
All right. And as a reminder, everybody, reach out to your account manager for CENTEGIX and they will help you through the safety blueprint process, or you can just go to success.centegix.com and all the tooltips are there for you. Thank you all and have a great day.